going to the traditional synagogue to find the true foundation of Torah. Yahweh says, we, the Kehillah, the Commonwealth of Israel, we are the pillar and foundation of the Torah because we have seen the goal of the Torah, which is to lead us to a saving knowledge of the blood of Yeshua. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. We have the foundation of Torah, not the rabbinical Jews, deceived. Yahweh have mercy on you. Yahweh have mercy on you.
Yes.
And how many of our brothers and sisters have been deceived? And they need Yahweh's mercy. Verse 16. And truly great is the mystery of our Shabbat guarding piety and tzedakah. Okay. Here's the mystery of what makes us Shabbat keeping Nazarene Israelites. He was manifest in his own flesh. He was declared righteous by the Ruach HaKodesh. He was seen by heavenly Melachim, angels, proclaimed in the house of Israel from and to all the nations, believed on in the Olam Hazeh, the world, and received back up to Tiferet. Now, because of all these qualifications, are these strict qualifications? Yes and no. Yes and no. They're not strict in terms of who is called to be a Zachen or a Shamesh. Okay. Not many noble, not many kings, not many high and mighty, because Yahweh has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the high and the mighty.
Amen.
So who can become a Shamesh or a Zachen? The simplest of uneducated, not taught, illiterate, whatever. The simplest.
Wow.
So on one hand, the qualifications to be a Zachen or a Shamesh are very simple. But when it comes to integrity, to character, to loyalty, to faithfulness, they are very high. So for position, it's easy to get the position. But to have the character necessary to attain the position, very difficult. Because if you can't be loyal to your wife and children, how are you going to be loyal to the rabbi?
All right.
Yeah. That's right. You can't be loyal to them, how are you going to be loyal to Yahweh?
If you make excuses, don't forget, one of the reasons Yahweh has put us in the community is so that we could be ministering and a blessing to others.
That's right.
We're not here just so we can learn, and just so we can benefit, and just so we can obey Yahweh. We are here to prove our loyalty, our character, our faithfulness, our fidelity to Yahweh by being faithful to man. Because if we cannot be faithful to man, whom we can see, and love man, who we can see, how are we going to be faithful and loving to Yahweh, who we cannot see?
Exactly. Makes total sense.
You need to be here every week. You need to be here every time the door's open. Yes, will you be sick? Yeah. Will be days you don't feel like it? Yes. Yes. But the reason is because that is all part of developing your character, your integrity, and your loyalty to be used by Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
To be used by Yahweh. So, on one hand, who could become a Shamesh or a Zachen? Anybody. High school dropout? Especially.
Exactly.
Kindergarten dropout? No problem. What's so funny? No problem. It's true. Who were the Talmidim? Who were the Talmidim? They were 12 uneducated fishermen.
Yes. Yep.
They had no formal training, no title, no nobility. And the Sanhedrin looked at them and looked at these peasants and said, look, behold, they have been with Yeshua. They recognized that these people had been with Yeshua. How do they recognize it? By the power and authority that doesn't come through formal education. The power and the authority that doesn't come through formal education. You have formal education, that's great. to be a shamash or a zachen, Yahweh is not calling you to write your own Bible.
Exactly.
He's just calling you to love and be faithful and be loyal to where Yahweh planted you.
Amen.
Not to be offended and run. Not to be disconcerted and give up.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you, Yahweh.
Your wife or your husband disappoints you several times each week. Do you just run and break fellowship with them? Of course your rabbi is going to disappoint you. Of course the seal is going to disappoint you. Of course people in the congregation are going to hurt your feelings from time to time.
Yep.
Amen.
And it is what it is.
And that is not, that is where Yahweh is testing you.
Exactly.
Are you material to be a shamash or a zachen, or are you going to run at the first sign of trouble and difficulty and challenge? That's what Yahweh means, to be tested.
That's right. That's right.
Get
Amen.
over it.
Amen.
That's what it means to be tested.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's continue in 1 Timothy 4:1. 1 Timothy 4:1. Now watch the connection here. Please don't miss the otherwise you're going to have a disconnect rather than a connect. 1 Timothy 4:1. Now the Ruach speaks expressly. Now listen, the Ruach spoke to Rav Shaul clearly that in the Yamim Acharonim, was that? Latter days. Some shall depart from the Emunah, looking for another pillar and foundation of Torah and Emet. They're going to depart from the Emunah, giving heed to seducing Ruachim, teachings of Shadim, demons, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience branded with a hot iron, seared from truth and from perceiving truth. 3. Here are some of the signs of apostasy that we're going to see in the last days. Number 1, forbidding to marry.
That's old. We can't marry that.
Now you listen here, Bubba. I don't mind y'all going cheating for a night as long as I don't know about it, but y'all be darned if you bring another woman into this house.
That's a...
Pastor McGillicuddy says, don't you know that anybody that preaches that stuff that's written in that 6 in the Believer book is part of a cult? Do you realize, when are you going to wake up, Chris? When are you going to wake up and realize you're part of a cult?
He says that you can't leave.
That's a seducing spirit. Forbidding to marry. Telling you that all these other things are cool outside of marriage. But they forbid marriage. Commanding to abstain from foods which Yahweh has created to be received with hodu, thanksgiving to those who believe and know the Amen.
Amen.
Okay? Yahweh has created certain foods and they command not foods. For instance, certain religions you can't eat fish on Monday, it has to be Friday. You can't eat meat on Tuesday. They all kind of man-made rules. Verse 4. For every creature of Yahweh, notice, is tov, nothing to be refused. If, number 1, you receive it with hodu, thanksgiving. Number 2, if it has been made kadosh in the Torah by the word of Yahweh and prayer.
Exactly.
So in other words, how do I know I could eat? Number 1, you got to give thanks. Number 2, you got to look it up in the word of Yahweh by prayerfully looking it up in the word of Yahweh. Verse 5, if it is made kadosh, you can eat it. If Yahweh hasn't made it kadosh, you cannot eat it. Verse 6. If then you teach these things, now we're getting back to shamashim and teaching zechenim, teaching elders. If you teach these things, verse 6, to the Israelite brothers, you will be a tov eved of Yeshua. Now, there are 2 types. One is a teaching shamash or a zachen. A zachen teaches with his fidelity, loyalty, and integrity, steadfastness, and his mouth. A shamash only teaches with their lifestyle. But either way, a shamash or a zachen must teach the Israelite brothers. Even if you never have a microphone, you're teaching by your fidelity, by your loyalty, by your steadfastness, by your holiness, by your life. You're still teaching. Look, verse 6. If you teach these things to the Israelite brothers, you'll be a tov eved of Yeshua HaMashiach, servant, nourished in the words of emunah, faith, and good tov teaching, which you have followed closely. So in order to be a zachen or a shamash, from the shamashim come the zechenim. From the zechenim come the rabbis and shepherds, pastors. Pastors is another way of saying shepherds. By following faith, words of faith, good teaching, which you follow once a month. Look at the end of verse 6. Which you follow once a month.
Yeah, right.
Mostly.
They left, Chris, but you're still following closely. The other ones left too, but you're still following closely. They left. They had legitimate reasons to leave. But you're